you got to make that happen for yourself and especially if you need it. And I think so many people do need it and they don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't ever be shamed for saying that I do something to make myself healthy and happy.
You know those moments in your life when you meet someone and you think, this is going to keep delivering. I'm going to keep working together with this person. Something in this person is just drawing me to her. And I know that this relationship matters. Well, that happened to me a few years ago when I met Cathy Hazen. I met her as a consultant for my orthodontic office. She is the CEO of Three Leaf Consulting. So she comes into orthodontic offices and helps with productivity, with patient experience, with creating a wonderful environment, work environment, and really helping with leadership in different orthodontic offices. And her personality just called to me. She has this infectious way about her of just bringing joy everywhere she goes. She has this way of leading people with joy and happiness and inspiration. And she really does make a huge difference in this world. I'm so excited to introduce her to you. And today we're talking about amazement, amazing other people, being an amazement coordinator. What does that mean? And she really calls herself that. She works as an amazement coordinator, as a practice development consultant, as director of operations in an orthodontist office for Dr. Petrous. And she shares with us today her perspective on life and how she's faced challenges recently, just like so many of us do, and how she does it from a vein of happiness and gratitude. So I know you'll enjoy this episode as much as I have. She's a wonderful human being and just exudes joy herself. Join me in welcoming Cathy Hazen. Hello and welcome to the Business of Happiness podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Tarryn MacCarthy, and today, guys, this is going to be a great day. Today, we are chatting with one of my favorite people that I think I've ever met. Her name is Cathy Hazen. I cannot wait for you to meet her. I met her through the orthodontic world, and I will tell you all about who she is. But first, I want to let you know that literally on her business card, she calls herself an amazement coordinator. Cathy, welcome to amaze all of us and tell us, what is an amazement coordinator? Tell us who you are, share with my audience, let us know who you are.
Well, thanks so much for having me. Oh my gosh. And you're so one of my favorite human beings. And I'm so excited now that we're both faculty members on Invisalign. I can't wait until we can collaborate together. It's been so much fun working with you and Meg over the years. So thank you for this opportunity. So amazement coordinator, I think I've always say like my superpower is love and kindness and acceptance and being happy and joy. And really, I think it comes to joy, like feeling joy and wanting to radiate joy and being able to bring that into like my business experience, right? My professional life and amazement coordinator. So customer service is my focus always. My internal customer is my team, my doctor. My external customer is our patients and our parents and our referring dental offices. And so always understanding and appreciating those two sets of customers that we have and trying to amaze them, bring them the best experience possible. And it doesn't have to be grandiose, right? It's not huge, elaborate exposure or experiences. It's the little wows of life, but you create enough little wows that you amaze them and exceed their expectation. So exceeding expectation.
I love that. I love that. I wonder what your perspective is on this. How important is it to amaze yourself?
100%. You have to start there. And that's one beautiful thing too. I love this resource that we have with the business of happiness. And there's a lot of really, I think you're seeing it in manifesting, right? There's such a great opportunity and wealth of resource out there with people learning this through yoga and meditation and that self-care piece. And I do think like people would always say to me, even as a young person, they would say, like, you're so confident. I just think I was lucky enough at a young age to be able to love myself.
Mm.
And not in an arrogant way, because that's so important. Like there's such a difference between confidence and arrogance.
Mm.
And I think I danced in those two arenas back and forth as a young person, and trying to figure that all out, and had to take a lot of missteps and wrong turns and going into arrogance over confidence. But at least being aware of knowing that I cannot spread love, kindness, patience, if I don't give those things to myself first.
Mm. Mm. So
So
important, so important. And it's interesting you were tapping in on confidence there. You have to be confident in yourself to ask anyone else to be confident in you. And especially in the dental world, for our patients and as business owners, for our team members, we have to be sure that we can ask of them what we're willing to give to ourselves.
100%.
Yeah.
Like the whole lead by example, right? You lead by example in every aspect. But again, it has to come and be a foundation of believing in yourself without, again, I think so many people struggle with arrogance versus confidence. And I think it comes from a place of gratitude. Like I have these amazing resources in my life, and one in particular that I'm going to mention, but Dr. Anila Decula does a beautiful job of being this amazing, successful orthodontist, cool human being. But when you listen to him speak and teach, it's all about gratitude.
Mm.
And so being grateful, start with a place of gratitude. So then I think that keeps the arrogance at bay.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so gratitude right now feels difficult in a culture where we are working with skeleton crews.
Mhm.
The world is working understaffed, and that's difficult, especially when we're trying to continue to serve the people that we are doing so in the dental world. And I know we've talked about this a little bit, but in terms of understaffing and how to maintain happiness and positivity for our teams when they really are feeling strapped and overworked. And I would love your perspective in that regard. I think you have such a great resource. You are a great resource here because you have your foot in consulting teams, learning and teaching teams how to work together. You also have a foot in showing businesses how to be more profitable and how to grow their businesses. But as a team member yourself, you know what that feels like.
Mhm.
So share with us a little bit of your perspective of right now where we are in the marketplace and with COVID and with all the difficulties that businesses are facing. What advice are you giving teams?
Yeah, so this is super hard right now,
Mm.
because these are uncharted waters for all of us in leadership roles or business owner roles like yourself. How First, the gratitude piece, right? So I think it's always really important that anyone that's blessed to be in a leadership role um, doesn't lose sight of always looking through the lens of their customer. And I think that's a key piece of the puzzle that I learned at a young age, is my internal customer. My internal customer is my teammates and my doctor. And as a leader, I have to always look through their lens, and staying really unbiased too, not allowing my emotional baggage or thoughts or opinions to come into play.
Mm.
So when you're interacting with your team, an example is like if you have a situation where you have team members that are consistently late, that can be really frustrating. And you have to coach through that. Like in fairness to the rest of the team, you can't allow these things to happen. But what you can't do is allow that small piece of the puzzle, now very important and can be very dangerous to your team, to jade all the great things that are in that person and assets when you're trying to coach them. And you have to see it as coaching too. I think as leaders, there's so many great resources and books out there on the difference between management and leadership.
Mm.
And I really think the biggest part of that is remembering that you're in a coaching position, but you have got to always, every time you're going to coach a team member, you have to think about what are all the amazing assets they bring to the team and to the practice and to advocating for our patients. and then focus on the piece that needs to be coached. So you have to, again, and that comes from a piece of gratefulness. You at the same time can't allow a team member to have something like that hurt the rest of the team. It's not fair to them, because of the resentments that'll get built. So as a leader, you have to hit it head on. That's probably one of the other things that I think is so hard sometimes in a leadership role, is you have to hit these conversations on head on. But if you're always speaking from a place of love and kindness and patience, and you don't have your own personal baggage in it or agendas, you can have those hard conversations, because your team member knows that you are truly, it might be hard for them to hear, but you're trying to help them, and you're advocating for the rest of the team too.
Okay.
And so you can have hard conversations as long as you're always speaking from a place of grace and love. The doctor that I work for now, Dr. Petrous, he's amazing. And he has this amazing wife who's a business coach. And she always says, truth with grace.
Yeah.
You can give hard truths with grace. So I think that's a big piece of the puzzle, right? With the team that you have, is so always appreciating them. Now back to that understaffing situation. I think it's really important that we don't lose sight of how much everybody's doing and take it for granted. And I think that happens. And I think it's really important that leaders and business owners sit down and verbalize with these team members, I see what you're doing. I see how hard you're working. I appreciate what you're doing. So Dr. Petrus just went through this over this last year, like many of us, right? He made it a promise to the team that he will never allow us to be understaffed again, no matter how hard that promise is going to be. Right? Look at your eyes.
Wow.
Like, what? But whatever he has to do, whether it's having a higher overhead, it's whatever he has to do, because he saw everything they were doing. He made sure he recognized it verbally. He jumped right in. That's one of the most beautiful things. I mean, honestly, when your team's understaffed, let me tell you what, when I watch him walk out to that reception area as an assistant and grab a patient and bring them back and be the assistant, I have never seen an orthodontist go out to the reception area and grab a patient themselves. And he just does it. He just jumps right in. But it's because he puts himself as a teammate.
Yeah.
That's what I love about owners like you and Dr. Dale Davis that I worked for up in Midland, is who really showed me that, was seeing themselves as a teammate, not just the doctor and the business owner.
Now,
And
how do you also then cultivate that gratitude within the rest of the team? So absolutely, leadership has to start there. It has to start from the top down. And if the leader isn't showing that, then how is anyone supposed to follow? But how do you then also, when people are feeling a lot of negativity in the rest of the world, it's fearful out there, childcare issues, health issues, concerns for things in the economy, we bring all of those with us without even knowing. Yeah. How do you then ask your team members to then be grateful for this position?
Again, that's modeling, right? We have to model that. So I ask in every huddle, this team of 16, we all are from different faiths, different cultures, different backgrounds. Mine is Christianity. I have team members that are agnostic. So every day I ask in huddle, who needs to be lifted up?
Ooh, I love that.
And a lot of times people don't want to say things, and I know what's going on. So I say, I really want to lift up Dom today, because I know she's been having a tough time. It's really important for all of us, whether you believe in positive vibes, whether you believe in prayer, whatever it is, we're lifting her up right now. And so modeling that behavior, but at least probably once a week, I take an opportunity to say, I'd really like to lift all of us up. We all need to lift each other up, see the beauty of what we all do for each other, be grateful for each other, be grateful for the patients, even the tough families. We in huddle, we go through like all the ones that are coming in today that, have different challenges, and to not allow us to focus it on it as a negative and say, my gosh, these are great opportunities that we have in front of us. A perfect example is we work occasional Saturdays. And he's going to listen to this and hopefully he's going to be okay. Even Dr. P. Dr. P is in the huddle, and I'm not trying to shame him right now, but
shout out to Dr. P.
Yeah, he's in the huddle, and he's like, everybody's like, oh, we know it's hard. We're here on a Saturday. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I'm so like, you guys, we have like 30 some or 40 some patients in today that are coming in that are here for a Saturday that have confirmed their appointments. Just think about how easy we just made it for those moms that didn't have to take work off early. I am so glad we're here today. Can we all just be like really excited about the difference that we made in making these appointments more convenient for these 30 some families that we have in? And Nadia, one of our team members, makes these beautiful charcuterie boards for us for breakfast with fruits and cheeses. And I'm like, and we don't get these beautiful charcuterie boards except for when we're here on Saturdays, you guys, and we're not here a whole day. And I'm like, so excited we're here on Saturday. Can we speak those words? Can we all just be really excited that we're here because we are doing some really good, like big good. We're doing big good, man, by making it so these families that are here on Saturday probably really appreciate the Saturday appointment, and we need to too.
Yeah.
So I think it's modeling, and then also challenging them when you see those moments. I had a moment where I had a team member that kind of hit another team member. Like, didn't you see your Slack as the poor team member's leaving for the day, and challenging them? And the next morning I hit it head on. And I just said, like, was that fair? Was that fair to do that to that person? And sometimes we have to force our team members to sit and look through the lens of that other teammate or mom or patient or whatever it is. But I really think that's taking those opportunities to have those conversations with team members that maybe need help with that. But I definitely I'm guessing because I'm still learning, right? Every day is new.
Absolutely.
But I really think it's modeling, and I think it's those moments where I had to say in huddle that Saturday, like, Dr. P, I don't want to contradict you, but I'm going to right now.
Yeah.
And the whole team's looking at me like, what's she gonna say? And I'm like, okay, listen, people, we're going to be excited. We're here today. I'm going to make you happy.
You do this so beautifully and effortlessly. And it seems like your perspective always, Cathy, is just a positive, optimistic one of growth and learning. Has there ever been a time in your life when you haven't felt that?
All the time. I listen to your podcast with, I'm so sorry. I keep wanting to say his name wrong.
Elijah
right?
Desmond. Yes.
Yeah.
Phenomenal interview. Yes.
Life-changing. Like, there's so many things I want to go back and listen to that. And I immediately, what do I think? What do I think in my head? Like, holy smokes, that's who I'm going to follow? Like, self-doubt, right? And it's like, holy smokes, who are you talking to this afternoon? Really? This is where you're how you're gonna talk to yourself today. And I went through some really hard things over the last couple of years with divorce and changes of jobs and things. 100% learned at a very young age. Everything happens for a reason. And I'm a joyful person. I've had family members accuse me of being a Pollyanna. I choose joy. And, my mother, who I lost at a young age, is really who instilled that in me. And it was amazing because that lesson is what got me through the loss of her. And to live my entire adult life without her was, she would always say, like, God shuts the window, he opens the door, shuts the door and he opens the window. And just trust in that. You may not see it for years, but just trust in that. And that 100% is what got me through my grief of that loss. And then luckily enough, because of being young, I was like, listen, this pertains to every part of my life, every single aspect of my life. And so my dad's a joyful person, so that's where it comes from. And he's been accused of being a Pollyanna too. But every single situation, you will, on the other side of it, at some point be able to say, oh my gosh, this is why this happened. Everything happens for a reason. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, even if I have to chant that because my heart doesn't feel it. And I believe in being authentic, and I don't believe in a fake it until you make it. But I do believe Henry Ford said, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. So if you tell yourself you can, you're going to somehow, some way. At the very least, you're going to get through it. You're going to live through it, even if that's the only thing that's positive on the other side of it. I got through it, but you know what? I got through it, so now I'm stronger.
Mm.
But every single one of these situations I've been through in life, at some point, I've sat back and said, wow, like had that not happened, I wouldn't be here today. And wow, I really love where I am today. So that was great. And plus, you learn so much on those painful moments.
Absolutely.
So again, like even in the darkest and toughest hours of my life, loss of my mom, loss of my marriage, 26 years. And I can't say it was a bad marriage. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughs. There's a lot of great memories.
What we need right now is to leverage happiness in the workplace. If you're a leader or manager struggling with retaining team members and frustrated with the current staffing shortage, group coaching for your team is your solution. Christina Unrein and I have partnered together to build a 10-week group coaching workshop for your business, focused directly on increasing happiness and positivity in the workplace. How do we do this? We use the awesome systems you already have in place and support your team members directly with tools for a mindset shift for awareness of their individual power to own their own happiness. Learn how to cultivate accountability for happiness in your team members and guide them with the tools to own their empowerment at work. Turning around workplace culture starts with individuals, and Christina and I are here for you. Email me at tarryn@thebizofhappiness.com if you are ready to make workplace happiness your competitive advantage.
I had to say, like, I feel terrible now. I don't know how I'm going to survive. The financial aspect that comes into all those worries and things, but I was not going to let anything steal my joy ever. I know and trust I'm on the path I'm supposed to be on. I may not see it, but I'm going to stay true to me and not allow my joy to anyone to ever steal that from me. And I have the power of that. That's all within me.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So yeah. There's a lot of times just today where I was the self-doubt talk was going to start to happen. I was like, oh my gosh, no.
Yeah. It's that daily practice too. And it's just never giving up on that promise to yourself. And it's interesting because I know you and I are both Jeep owners and love to drive a Jeep. And I think that that's part of it as well, that Jeeps will bring you happiness. I do believe that. But
I do too.
The practice in it is making moments of your life joyful in anticipation. Every day practicing it. So I know you feel the same way, but when I put that roof down, I am loving my drive. I don't care where I'm going. It's making my day great, but I do it with intention because I know there's going to be a tough day. I know there's going to be a day I don't feel like doing something, but man, that Jeep's going to make me feel good.
You know what? Every time I climb in my Jeep, man, it's my dream car. It's this red, beautiful Rubicon. It's husky. It's got rusted running boards, but I climb into that thing and I'm like, man, I love my ride. I love driving my Jeep. It's so impractical, but you know what? It's what I want. It's what makes me happy. I drive 45 minutes to work, girl. You know how expensive it is. But I love my Jeep.
Yeah.
It's at me and the gas station next door. We're good friends.
I know. And the other thing I love about a Jeep, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel every bump in the road. It makes me feel alive. I have to climb into that thing. It's not easy to get into. I totally feel alive in it. But I think it's that a part of it is the practice of it, because there are going to be tough days. And then always having that intention of finding the joy in it.
Yeah. And I think back to the team part of it, I think that was something I really realized that I had heard Dr. Adekula talk about. I'm almost positive at some point, maybe they still do. He gave his team gratitude journals.
Yeah.
And he sets out a part of huddle for them to write in their gratitude journals. I think as leaders, it is our responsibility as their coaches to coach them to that, and to however we have to do that. We model it, we force them into it, we make it a part of our culture. It's our expectations.
Mm.
We have to bring that into our expectations always. We have to clearly communicate that as our expectations. Because that's really important. Like, we can't if gratitude is important within your practice, then you have to communicate that. If that's important in your business, whether you're running a dry cleaner, you have to tell your team that's your expectation.
I love it. I love it. It's
And then
that
model it.
clarity. It's that truth with grace.
Yeah,
Exactly as you'd mentioned earlier.
absolutely. Yep,
So,
100%.
so Kathy, what does happiness mean to you? What is the definition of happiness for you?
Oh gosh, that's a good one. Oh, that's a tough one too. I mean, there's so many things. Like, I would, the podcast I was listening to that you just had, Elijah, right?
Yes.
I said it right this time. All right, awesome. There's so many great moments. You're never driving to work. I thought that was beautiful. Like, I love coming to the office. Like, I'm excited to come in. That's happy. Those are moments of happiness. I love advocating with our families. I really do kind of love when, like, a parent makes me justify why orthodontics is what's best for their child. That's a happy moment because that's a life-changing experience that I got to be a part of.
Mm.
That I'm never going to be necessarily thanked for it, but I was the one that was able to be a part of it. I mean, that's an honor. So that's a happy moment. Those are how does that not fill your happy bucket? But honestly, like, the most happy times probably, love being on the beach, love being in Florida, love being with my people, whoever that is. Just I love being surrounded by anybody that I consider my people. Um, my little dog and my Jeep, and Jeff, my significant other, spending time with them. I honestly, if I had to wrap it up in a beautiful little package, I'm in my Jeep, the top's off, the doors are off. Marty is
Yes.
in his seatbelt in the back. Jeff's in, the passenger seat next to me, and we're driving in New Smyrna Beach down in Florida, kicking it up, having us a, fun Saturday, driving to the tiki bar, and my brother and sister-in-law are sitting down there. I mean,
Living
those are
life.
yeah, those are just taking those happy moments and just one, making sure they happen and not feeling bad about them. And, happiness is present anywhere you're willing to allow it to happen.
Oh, I love
But it's
that.
happening all the way around you. You just gotta take a moment to say thanks. Like, hey, like, I'm so glad this is happening right now. I said the other thing I just remember, like, for me, like, sleep. Sleep is really important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I make sure that I make sure I get 7 hours of sleep every single night. And
I have been speaking about this so often to business leaders and business owners because that's the one thing that people tend to forsake. They tend to push themselves and not even realize the value of great sleep to be able to be a great leader of your own dreams.
and how many people want to make you feel bad for that?
I know.
I can't tell you how many times I've turned and I'm with a group of I'll just use my sisters because they love me, and they have no choice. So we're all sitting around. It's, Thanksgiving, and I'm like, I got to go to bed because I need my 7 hours of sleep. And, oh, that must be nice, kind of an attitude. I'm lucky if I get 4. Well, shame on you. Like, make sure you get your sleep. You've got it. That's You've got to make that happen for yourself. And especially if you need it. And I think so many people do need it and they don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't ever be shamed for saying that I do something to make myself healthy and happy. And so years and years ago, I remember saying something about how I'm a sleeper, and somebody tried to, oh, that must be nice. And I'm like, well, shame on you for not doing it because it's amazing. And you probably should, think about fixing that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's part of my happiness is I am aware of what I need,
Mm.
and I'm not ashamed to, one, make it happen and do it. and do it.
Oh,
So
thank you for giving. Thank you for giving any of our listeners that permission, because I'm sure so many people have felt that way in the past. Either, as you mentioned earlier, just owning the persona of being a joyful person and then being shamed for that, or owning the persona of being someone who takes care of themselves with rest or self-care and being ashamed for that, or being shamed for that. It's such a great moment when you can give permission to anybody listening out there that you should take care of yourself, and that is true self-care, is not allowing other people to rob those important values from you.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I could keep talking to you forever, and I will. We'll keep going. This conversation will keep going forever. But before I ask you our final question today, Cathy, I wanted people to be able to find you, because one of the things I haven't yet mentioned is that you are the CEO of Three Leaf Consulting, and that you do bring this great message to other practices, specifically orthodontic offices, or do you work with other offices as well?
I mean, I'm a firm believer in staying in your wheelhouse. But then at the same time, like if I had a friend who was a chiropractor who reached out, and I thought, well, again, you have to take those opportunities because they present themselves, and you don't want to, again, close yourself off because you're not believing in yourself at that moment. If that's in your path, then that's in your path for a reason. But obviously where I feel the most comfortable and where I feel like I have the most opportunity to give some great coaching and perspective and ideas is going to be in the orthodontic office. But you just never know. Like I said, I didn't know anything about chiropractic, but the customer service is non-industry. Delivering really excellent customer service and then having an opportunity to learn how to have really great customer service with your internal customer and your external customer, that that's any industry, that's any business, whether you're 2 employees or you're 1,000 employees.
So where can we find you to take advantage of your expertise?
Thanks. Email is 3leafconsulting@gmail.com. So it's the number 3. Is probably the easiest way, or to give me a text. I mean, I definitely need to, that's got to be on my vision board is a website. Having this opportunity with you, I've been really lucky because the opportunity's been so present for me in the orthodontic industry and through Align Technology, because Align, I've had such a beautiful family in Align Technology, Invisalign, when it comes to having opportunities to meet new offices and like yours. And we never would have met had it not been for Jamie and it being a Invisalign, territory manager. So I've been
shout out to Jamie as well. Yeah. Another amazing human being.
Oh my gosh, right? So I would say the number 3leafconsulting@gmail.com is the easiest right now. But you know what? By the time your listeners have this, I'm gonna have a website handled.
I'm sure you will. Well, we'll put all of those links in the show notes. So if anybody's looking to find out more about this incredible woman, please check out the show notes. And then what I'd love to know or hear from you, Cathy, as we sign off here on this conversation, and there'll be more to come from Cathy Hazen, let me tell you that. But as we sign off here, can you leave our audience with just one sentence or line or thought of inspiration of how to maintain this joy and positivity in their lives?
Every single morning, take a moment, and you hear it over and over in multiple resources. Take a moment, whether you write it down, whether you think it, and say thank you for the opportunities that are in front of you. Thank you for your team. Thank you for the tough things that are going to happen in front of us today. I've heard you say it many different times, that even those tough situations, you be thankful for them. Just take an opportunity and really think about what you're thankful for in the day. I really think that fundamentally, it's that moment of my 45-minute drive in my Jeep, feeling every bump, where I stop and I think, like, I'm so thankful for Noah. I'm so thankful for my family. I'm so thankful for my friends. I'm so thankful for Dr. Petrous. I'm so thankful for the people that my team that I work with. I'm so thankful for our families, you know. But honestly, kindness, right? I always end with, and I do this every morning.
Mm.
Every morning. Mine again is a faith-based practice where, I thank God. Thank you, God, for, help me be a better child of faith, help me be a better mother, help me be a better spouse, help me be a better um, employee, help me be a better employer,
Mm.
help me be a better advocate for our families, our patients. But most importantly, and I always end on this and spend a minute of silence in this, help me be a better stranger.
Ooh.
Like, I want someone today to walk away and be grateful for the smile and true kindness that us just walking past each other might have given them.
Mm.
Is just, you don't ever even have to say anything, but a simple hello and a smile, it changes lives.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. We're so grateful to you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
everything that you've been doing in this profession. You really have made a ripple of joy and positivity just all around you. And I hope you know how much people feel it even beyond what you think, because every person that we impact in this way has the opportunity to do so to so many
Right.
others. So thank you for all you do.
Thanks. And thanks, Taryn, for having this for all of us too. This has been an amazing addition to so many people's lives. So thank you for taking the time to give that to us and be that coach for us.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you to all of you for listening to this episode of the Business of Happiness podcast. I'm sure that you're so happy to know Cathy Hazen as much as I am. When I first met her years ago, I just was absolutely smitten and knew that I would continue to be in touch with her over the years. So please check her out. And please remember that when you feel good, that's when you can do good. Bye-bye.